And I apologize. I just came from the gym and was working with resistance. Right? When you're in the gym, you're resisting the weights and everything. So anyways, all right. So, okay. So let's focus on it's going to be a short video today. I'm going to share with you, it's vital that we understand the resistance in our life and how to change it. And how to use it to achieve what we want. So it doesn't have to be a negative thing if we can recognize it and change it. Okay, so let's focus on, I got some notes here that I just took. So let's focus on the calling and the resistance. So there's the calling, the goal, the thing that you feel that you're called to do, that you're drawn to do. And there's resistance to that thing. Trying to keep you from that thing, whatever it is. You can call it procrastination. That's a form of resistance. So there's lots of different types of resistance. Well, things that are resistance. So we'll kind of dive deep into the calling in upcoming videos. But right now, I just want you all to recognize that you have a calling, you have a goal. A lot of times we forget what that calling is if we're not, in tune with the universe or God or whatever you want to call it. I call it God. But you have a goal. You sense it, and then the rest of this video we're going to explore what I refer to as the art of resistance. Okay. So C.S. Lewis, an incredible author, noted that there's no neutral ground in the universe. Okay. Every moment's claimed by God and counterclaimed by Satan. Okay. Pretty powerful, right? So let me say that again. Every moment, every minute, every second, every heartbeat, okay, is claimed by God. It's also counterclaimed by Satan. Okay. So what do I mean by that? So the dichotomy is, it can also be seen as the calling versus the resistance, right? These two things, these two forces, right? Calling and resistance at all times. Doesn't stop at all times. It's not like you got the calling and then you got the resistance. They're always at every moment trying to claim your time, your energy, your focus, okay? So once you decide to pursue your calling, there's a constant tug of war, right? There's this tug of war, right? So you can push it as like resistance, right? Like at the gym, or like a tug of war, right? They're tugging and pulling against each other, okay? So anyways, it's a very pervasive force. It's always, in our life at all times, okay? So whether we ignore it or not, it's there, okay? So I don't know if any of you have read the book by Steven Pressfield. It's called The War of Art, not the Art of War, right? Not Sun Tzu, right? It's The War of Art. Okay, powerful book. Highly recommend it. I read it years ago. I have it on my phone. But Pressfield, right? Steven Pressfield, he describes the resistance as what stands between the life that you're living, right? So it's what stands between the life that you're living now and the unlived life within you. Okay, so we have two lives, right? So it's described as two lives. So we have the life we're living now, and then we have the life, the unlived life inside of us. The things that we want to do that we never do. The girl we wanted to ask out and date and marry, right? Or the guy, right? That we never did, right? We call that regret, right? Things that, they interview people that are on their deathbed. And one of the biggest things they say, right, is I never lived that life, right? It's that life that you always wanted to live, but there's been some resistance. It's like, that's your calling. That is really your calling. Like the life you want to live, that's your calling. And then we have the, that's internal, right? You're not living that life because that's the life you want, but you're not living it. So we have the current life, the life you're in, the life that you actually do and live every day. Then we have that internal life that's the unlived life. And unfortunately, most people never live that life, right? We let that resistance get in the way and block us, whatever it is. It could be procrastination. It could be being lazy. It could be whatever fear, doubt. That's all resistance, right? That's resistance magic. It's resistance trick. It's the devil, right? that's its job, and we'll explain that here. I think I wrote that down here. So essentially, what it's doing is just preventing you from living the life that you ultimately desire, that extraordinary life that you know that you should be living, you're just not living it, okay? So one of Pressfield's secrets is that the actual task isn't the hard part, right? It's sitting down to do it. So he relates a lot of this because it's called the War of Art, and he's a writer. So he relates a lot of this to writing, and if you're a writer, you probably understand this. I'm not the best writer, thank God for ChatGPT now. but anyways, like, I do have a few books, but, I had them ghostwritten, I'm just be honest, but some of the material is mine, but, I didn't actually sit there and write them, right? So one of Pressfield's secrets, like I said, it's the hardest part. So whether it's working out, whether it's writing a book, whether it's creating your website, whether it's, making progress, right? The primary goal of resistance is to hinder your progress, to stop your progress, to keep you safe, right? That's our brain, right? Its main function is to keep us safe, keep us secure, keep us from being eaten, right? By the lion or the tiger or the whatever, the saber-toothed tiger back when we were cave people. But, it's like I said, the primary goal is to hinder your progress. It's encouraging you to drift away from your calling. So you have this calling, right? You have this ideal life, this dream life that you want to live. But the goal of resistance is to keep you drifting away from that. I used to call it a figure eight. It's like, what if I do this? But what about that? But, I should do this. But what about this? So that keeps you in this loop, right? So you could call it a loop. You could call it a figure eight, whatever you want to call it. I like figure eight because it's like, what if I do this over here? Okay, what do I go? But wow, I'm late. I'm tired. And it's like this whole thing that goes on in our head all day long. So we're just constantly drifting and drifting. And that's its job. Resistance job is to keep us drifting. To be ultimately what I wrote some notes down here is to become a drifter. So it's an identity that, you call it what you want, okay? I call it God and Satan. It's easier for me to comprehend, right? But resistance wants to keep you from even starting, right? From taking that step, right? The hardest part of working out isn't lifting the weight. Like once you're on the bench or you pick up the weights, it's not really the hardest part to actually do it, right? It's getting yourself out of bed at 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning because you have to go to work at 8 or 9 or something like that. Or it's after a hard day of work, getting yourself to stop at the gym and work out, right? I work out, right? I roll out of bed, get my butt out of the house to the gym. And even then there's resistance. It takes me like 30 minutes to get out of the freaking house. Like where I could just roll out, get my clothes on and go, right? I got all this resistance, and as we get older, that resistance gets stronger and stronger if we allow it to become part of our identity. So we got to interrupt that pattern, right? But anyways, it's the resistance is, getting yourself to do that thing. I have, let me see. So if you want to lose weight, right? Resistance shows up as food, right? Like, I've been dieting for, 5 days now and I deserve a pizza, right? That's going to stop our progress. That's its job. That's resistance job. Okay. And so we need to recognize that that's resistance, and how do we change that? And we'll talk about that in coming videos, how to turn this around. Okay. So anyways, enough on that. Imagine yourself, okay, between the calling and the resistance, and you're in between. It's like, do I go over here? Do I go to the calling? Do I go to the resistance, to drifting? Okay. So resistance aim, these are the notes I put down here. So resistance aim to make you, I don't know why I put that. Resistance aim is to make you drift until you become a drifter. Okay. Detach from your goals. Man, that's freaking powerful. Think about this. Resistance's aim, resistances, if that's a word, right? Resistance's aim is to make you drift. Make you drift. Make you drift. Right? I'm lazy. I'm tired. I'm tired. I deserve this. I should do that, but I should probably do this, right? We should all over ourselves, as Tony Robbins used to teach me. You're shitting all over yourself, Curtis, right? Not shitting, shoulding, right? I should do this, I should do that, but what about that? But maybe you should do this. right? And that's its job, is to keep you drifting and drifting and drifting, so that you basically forget your goals. They're there way back, and eventually they're just so far back, you're just like, I'll never achieve that. I might as well just do this, or you settle, right, for this okay life, right? Not that extraordinary life that you should be living. That's your calling, right? Not this life you're probably living right now. That's what allows you to be driven, right? The calling creates the drive. It helps you be driven, whereas the resistance makes you a drifter. So we have being driven, we have being a drifter. So this could be an identity, right? Who are you being today? I am being driven, I'm driven, or I'm a drifter. Okay, very, very simple way to look at it. Okay, yeah, so here I wrote this here. On the other side, the calling encourages you to have drive, to be driven. There are two distinctive identities, a drifter and a driven individual. Our constant battle is against resistance to avoid drifting and become driven, right? So that's the constant battle. Anyways, enough on that. We're almost done. So understanding how resistance work is crucial. We already talked about that. While there are various ways to it manifests, like I said, it could be procrastination, it could be laziness, it could be an attitude, right? You just have a bad attitude. That's resistance, right? I don't feel like it. That's resistance. Getting sick, that's resistance, right? Our body will manifest these things through our subconscious and our conscious. Like conscious, it's like the guard to the gate, and it allows things to come in so that, and that's resistance, allowing that to come in so that we get sick or we get tired or we stay up too late so we can't get up. And, all this resistance is all different kinds of things. So what is it for you? That's actually going to be my homework today. Think about, maybe write it down. And I wrote a lot of these things down. I won't share these yet. But write down what's your resistance, like what's your calling, right? So write down what's your calling, and let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, so understand how it works in your life. What did I write here? So this isn't an exhaustive list, right? But it includes like the major elements. So, just do little by little, like start to recognize resistance. That's the key. Start to recognize resistance in your life, okay? So think about the best way to do that is say, what's my calling? You might say, well, I don't know. Well, I know I don't know, but if I did know, or maybe what was once my calling, that's a good one, right? What was once my calling, because that's really your calling, right? When we're young, we know what we were called to do. So what's that unlived life, right? That's another good one to think about. What's that unlived life? Sorry, there's like a bird flying around out the window here. So it's cute. So what's that unlived life that you're not living right now? I know it's going to be painful, but the better you can understand that, and then look at, okay, what's my life now? So like, what's the life I want to live? What's my life, my actual life? Like, what am I actually living today? And then what's the resistance? What are the things like today? Like, maybe just do this for today. Like, ultimately I'd like to be living this life, but I'm actually living this life today. So what are the things I think that have stopped me, slowed me down, or even gotten in my way from having my ideal life? Maybe this happened, but what really is that resistance? Maybe it's maybe I had some fear. Maybe it's a fear that keeps coming up in your life that keeps you where you're at. Maybe it's like I said, maybe it's just being lazy, right? That's resistance. What is it for you? It's different for everybody. So understand what's the resistance, and then in the coming next couple of days videos, I will share how to change the resistance. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this, please comment or share with somebody that needs to learn this stuff. You want to improve your life, and you all have a blessed day. Thanks. Bye-bye.